Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. This is Deb McBride, and I am broadcasting from lovely Escazú, Costa Rica, where we are having a beautiful pink and orange sunset. And I love when it's those colors because they really just are astonishing in the sky, and the orange is so deep and vibrant and gorgeous, and it feels great. And I wish you a happy Sunday, this 27th of June, 2021. And these are the last days of June. If you can believe it, half the year is over. It is going in a flash. So before it becomes Christmas, let's talk about the week ahead. So we are looking at the first planets that have entered fire, and that was Mars of last week. We know that Mars entered Leo, and now Venus is in Leo. So we have planets in fire, and now we have motivation and get up and go and excitement and passion. And one of the things, though, that is going to happen as Mars and Venus are in fixed signs is that they are going to connect with Saturn and Uranus. Now, a few weeks ago, we did have the Saturn-Uranus square, and that was just the 14th. So it's just about 2 weeks ago that we had that second Saturn-Uranus square. But I felt that that was a complicated and difficult week. I felt that that was intense and heavy, and people really had some hard things going on, and we all had to work a lot and just sort of maintain our balance because things were hard. And now Mars is going to trigger them. So I think that before I address anything else, I want to address this because it's important. It is Mars, okay? And Mars is a hot-headed, confident, but aggressive planet. And when it comes up against Saturn and Uranus, it generally is not in good spirits. We've got to try to be creative and make the most of this because Mars can really be an agitating influence when it squares and opposes planets such as Saturn and Uranus. And it's going to oppose Saturn first, and that's going to occur on July 1st. And in this region of the world, it's going to be, my region of the world is going to be about 7 a.m. And it's going to be a little more, head banging against the wall a little bit because that's Mars. And then there's Saturn that says, no, you can't. And Mars says, but I have to. And yes, I will. And don't tell me what to do. And especially when it's in Leo, Leos don't like to be told what to do. And so within 2 days, so that's Thursday, the 1st, and then there's Saturday, the 3rd. And Mars is squaring Uranus on Saturday, the 3rd in the evening. And it really is a complicated relationship because Mars and Uranus are kind of explosive, and Mars and Saturn are a little frustrating. So what could easily happen, and what we don't want to happen, and I'm telling you this so that you are aware, you are maintaining awareness this week, is that you want to assert yourself somewhere and you can't, or you're being stopped. But remember, it looks like the outside world is stopping you. And you have to kind of reach inside and find out where the outside world is stopping you in appearance and where you are stopping yourself. So this is where things get a little rough, okay? So Mars gets entangled with Saturn. Now, if you remember last year, from August until early January this year, Mars was making aspects to Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto. And it's not making aspects to Jupiter right now, really, but it did its Pluto thing a few weeks ago. And remember, it was in Aries and it went retrograde, September, October, and then in direct in November. And it just kept hitting them over and over again. So it hit Saturn several times, hit Pluto several times, it hit Jupiter several times. So now it's hitting Saturn again, but from a different angle. So it's not squaring Saturn, it's opposing Saturn. So this is where we may revisit a little bit of the end of last year. This is where we have to be very self-aware in how we handle things, because these are impulsive aspects. And if you feel stopped or hindered in any way, you may just lose your cool when Mars gets to Uranus. And they're only 2 days apart. So really, it's happening. It's already happening. And if you feel that the two of them are, already, because of 2 weeks ago and because of what we're all going through, if you already feel like these planets have given you a little bit of a run for your money, then you can guarantee that they're going to give you a little more run for your money this week with Mars involved. That does not mean we should be afraid. That means we've got to find a constructive outlet for this. And the outlet, since we're dealing with Uranus in Taurus and Mars in Leo and Saturn in Aquarius, the one and only sign that does not have a planet in it is Scorpio, and of the fixed signs. And that's where the empty space is. That's where things get pushed. That's where the energy gets pushed out to in Scorpio. And so when the Scorpio energy is used, it's passion, and it is depth and intensity. And so it's about being deep with yourself and honest with yourself, and and your passions, and what are your passions. And it's also about being aware of where you are passionate. So this can be complicated, and it could be authority figures stepping on your toes. It could be people raining on your parade. It could be a lot of complicated dialogues and navigation of people this week. So, if you can keep your head down and do your work, if you can, might be the best. If you can't, if you're just going to, kind of do what you need to do and whatever you need to do, and if it clashes with people, well, then you've got to deal with the clashing and be honest about it. And somewhere, somehow, it's being very important for us to look at how maybe hot-headed we might be. And that's a little hard for each of us to admit. So if you are hot-headed, or if you're being impulsive, or if you're being irrational, you really need to kind of own that and just try it. It's going to be navigation. I don't want to say it's going to be hard. It might be, but it's more navigation. And so if you approach it from a place of navigation, as opposed to a place of, this is going to be difficult and I'm going to have to punch someone, then that is where you're going to go. So what we want to do with this energy is we want to, as we feel it rising, and it's rising, that Mars and Saturn, someone's going to say you can't, or you need to, or you must, or I need you to, or maybe you are a self-critic and you are feeling this, it's an opposition. It's one part of you versus the other. There is a part of you that is hindering yourself, and that is the Mars Saturn, okay? There's a part of you that's hindering yourself. It will come out in the form of another person, or it may, or a situation. It could come out in the form of your dog. Your dog is just, out of control or something. But one of the things that is important to remember is you and your energy are driving this car, okay? You and your energy. This is not about that's not about pointing a finger. You're pointing a finger at somebody. It's about you being very aware of self and self needs, and where your ego might get in the way, and where you have to be maybe a little coy or genteel when dealing with others, because all of this is coming from you. And one of the hard things about this is that it will operate in a way that is, like in your face a little bit, because Mars gets in your face. Mars is an in your face kind of planet. It's the first house. It owns the first house. It's in your face, and it's your face. It's my face. It's your face. It's everybody's face. So what face do you want to wear, and what face do you want to try on, and what do you want to do with this energy? Do you want to start a riot? Because if you do, then yeah, you can start a riot. If you would prefer a riot not started, then you need to say, okay, where is my ego getting ahead of me? Where do I want to assert myself, but I can't do it right now? Because maybe you're on a journey. We're all on a journey, and this Saturn and Uranus are not finished until December 24th. So with Mars provoking them this week, we have to be just aware and self-aware of where we could not be nice. Don't allow yourself to get into an argument. Don't allow yourself to get yourself in trouble. Don't allow yourself to, be provocative. Okay? I think that's a good word, provocative, because this is provocative. And you could easily get provoked by someone else. And you say, well, they started it. Well, that doesn't help matters. So say, all right, everything is an image, everything is a projection, everything makes it look like you are being hit with something. Okay? So don't point a finger except at yourself, because why am I bringing this on? What part of my psyche is speaking to me in this way that it needs this confrontation or this Saturnine hindrance? Okay? And just, don't get uppity about it. Just go, you know what? I've got to figure this out. And there's a part of you, say for example, okay, you're in a relationship and you know that it has run its course and you want to leave the relationship. And this could be a relationship with somebody in your family. Okay. So you're in a relationship and maybe, I don't know, you owe your brother-in-law money. You're staying with your mother temporarily while your house is being fixed. You are anything. You're in a real one-to-one relationship and you want to get out. Anything. Where that rears its head, where that Mars rears its head, is I can't wait to get the hell out of this. Okay? I need to get the hell out of this because Uranus wants out and Saturn is saying, not yet, darling. Not yet. So if your house isn't finished being done and you've got to stay with your mother and she's driving you crazy, then, you got to just say, I love you, Mom, and and try to work with the energy in that this is temporary. And this is temporary. This too shall pass. But what it's doing, Mars is a motivating planet, and it is in fire, and it must show us the way through this. So there's a path, and there's an out, and Mars rules Scorpio, and Scorpio's the empty space. So use your passions, your dynamics, your intensity, but be kind about it, okay? And if you have to put someone off or get patient in a way that you don't want to be patient, then you have to take action, Mars, in a way that is going to help facilitate the process. Go to the contractor and say, when are you going to be done with the house? Because I can't do this anymore. We've got to move in. We've got to move back into our house. Whatever it is. And if it's a relationship and you want to leave and you can't discuss it with your partner yet because you are in a place where you've got to do a few more things and get a few more things accomplished before you can get out of the relationship, then it's important to, have patience with yourself and say, okay, where am I holding myself back? Where have I not taken action towards myself, with myself. What am I not doing that's not getting me to where I need to be? And there's a lot to be recognized there, and we don't want to admit it. And we want to point a finger. It's easier. Why is she like this? Why are they like this? Why is he like this? Why are they doing this to me? Why are they like this? I really need to not do this anymore. And Mars is going to make that very, very clear. Now, every day since Saturn and Uranus have been talking to each other since February, we have known that there's something else brewing that we need to accomplish and do. And Mars is just going to highlight that. So you've got to try to be sweet as sugar and to everyone else and deal with yourself, not in a criticizing way, but in a constructively active way. And construction and activity, these are the things that are going to give you the motivation and the navigate the path out. So, sometimes astrologers will call this really malefic. I just think it's not something to be toyed with in that respect. I don't know if malefic is a great word. I think what this is navigation. If you go one way too much, you're going to get slapped. If you go another way too much, you might get punched. So you've got to find the middle ground here so that maybe everybody's not going to be happy, and maybe you're not going to be kicking your heels together and happy, but you are going to steer your truck through the icy road without slipping and sliding, okay? And just be one step at a time. Impulsiveness is Mars-Uranus. And you might just say, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'll go to a hotel before I'll stay with my mother anymore because she's driving me crazy while my house is being finished and that kind of thing. There's a reason everything is happening the way it is. There is a reason why things are, maybe slower than you want them to be. And it's up to you. It's up to you and how you handle it. Now, Venus has gone into Leo as well. And she and Mars are going to be sidekicks in that respect. But she's not ready to go where Mars is. Now, she's faster than Mars. She moves faster than Mars. And she won't get to Saturn and Uranus until Tuesday the 6th. And then she'll get to Saturn, then she'll get to Uranus. So that's not this coming week. It's the week after. It's after the United States celebrates 4th of July. And then we get Venus. And so going into the holiday weekend up there in the States, you've got Mars hitting Saturn and then Uranus. And then when you're coming out, there's Venus. And she's waiting to hit Saturn and then Uranus. And she'll be gentler. But that doesn't mean that she won't be necessarily, she'll be involved. She won't be uninvolved. She'll be involved. There'll be a something. There's something that she has to say in all of this, in all of her sweetness and kindness, and then a little bit of avavoom with, she's in Leo. So one of the things that has to be acknowledged is your own maybe rebelliousness when these planets hit Uranus. I'm going to just be a rebel and just get, do what I want to do. And Saturn is saying, hold on, bucker. You can't do that just yet. And that's going to be the frustrating part. So try to, Mars is great to exercise. Go exercise. Go do something that's physical, and it's going to get you to a place where you are feeling like you're using the energy up and it's not backed up, and you're going to get a headache or a stomach ache or indigestion because some situation in your life is untenable at the moment, and you have to be patient with it. And that's what it is. You have to be patient. It does, however, show you more of the way through it. And it is an experience and a lesson learned of how to get navigating this Saturn-Uranus. We can't forget that this is, going to go on for the rest of the year. I mean, we've got another 6 months of this. So we have to be kind and genteel where we can and just try to get through this. And so that's part of it. And then we get into Venus, which is, we're going to talk about it next week because that's really next week's information. In the meantime, the other thing is that Mercury will also, when Venus does that thing, Mercury is going to start talking to Neptune for the last time. And so Mercury is forward and eclipses are over. And now what? As I said in my Instagram yesterday, now what? Now what is we have to be awakened to prepare for these months and ahead. As before all those planets go direct in October, we really want to be looking at our lives and what our goals are and how we want to take it forward. And maybe you've just been sort of gliding past that Saturn-Uranus and you're not really paying attention to it, but it will get in your face if you're not paying attention to it. So what is helpful right now is to have some goals. What are your goals? And what goals do you really want to accomplish? And one step at a time accomplish. What are your goals? What do you feel about your goals? Are you happy with your goals? Do you need to shift your goals? And what are you setting out to accomplish now? And how are you going to do that? So one step at a time. Maybe there's a big, big, big vision, and that's great. And that's what you want to have. But the steps to get to the first part of the vision are now. And so we have to recognize the steps to this first part of the vision. So right now, in other words, the moon is in Aquarius, and it will go into Pisces tomorrow afternoon Eastern Time, 1:51 p.m. And so it's void now. It's almost a 24-hour void. So the first part of tomorrow, the beginning of the week, the moon is going to be void. And then in the afternoon, it'll go into Pisces and, be a little smoother. And then Tuesday, it'll be in Pisces. Wednesday, it'll be in Pisces and go void in the afternoon, 1:40 p.m. Eastern Time. And then it won't go into Aries until 9:21 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday the 30th. And so we've got a good amount of voids. We've got tomorrow, there's void, and then Wednesday is a lot of void into the evening. And then Thursday, it'll go into Aries Wednesday night, like I said, and then Thursday it will be in Aries, and Friday it will be in Aries, but it will go void like around midnight Friday night and a little after. And then Saturday the 3rd, it will, so while we're sleeping in this region of the world, it will be void, and then it will go into Taurus at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday the 3rd, and then it'll be in Taurus on Sunday the 4th. So it is, it is going to hit, it hit Saturn already, the moon hit Saturn already, today, and then it'll hit Uranus on Sunday. And so while we're having our experience of the Mars involved with Saturn and Uranus, the moon will get involved too. So that's always an extra bunch of fun. And then on Sunday the 4th, the sun will square Chiron. And so that's an interesting thing because the sun will square Chiron and Chiron's in Aries and the sun is in Cancer, and the sun is light, and Chiron is about where we may feel wounded and where we feel maybe our individuality, as far as Aries is concerned, individuality is wounded, and maybe there'll be some enlightenment when we see that, when we have that on Sunday. And so it's a square, but maybe it's like taking a hard look at where we need to lick our wounds a little bit. And And then the sun is going to make a very nice relationship to Uranus on Monday, the 5th. So I think that as it's coming up to Uranus and it's going to smooth things over with Uranus a little bit, it's going to help that Mars thing, or I hope it will. Now, every one of us has something going on this year that revolves around taking a risk versus staying safe. And this Mars is a bit of a test, because if it's still time to work with your energy in staying put, then you're going to really want to break free. I can assure you of that. And so go for a walk around the block, go exercise, do something, use up that Mars energy. That's what's going to be important. Also, start to pay attention as Mercury has gone forward. Start to pay attention. Mercury is going to start leaving finally, Gemini. And when it makes the square next Tuesday, the 6th, it's really going to Neptune. It's going to give us like the last chapter of that story that it started back in May. So what was that story for you? What has evolved? What is the story? And what were the hidden things and the intuitions and the special messages and information that you have received since that end of May, when Mercury tapped Neptune and continues to tap Neptune into the 6th. And then it will be finished with that story. And it has a finality to it. There is some lesson learned. There is something profound about this. You're listening to your intuition. And remember, I said there was a turning point. And I think it has a lot to do with, decisions we made, intentions we set. And those are the things that are going to come forward, I believe, in October. So that's really important. So look back. Maybe you journaled about this. I hope you did. And look back at what you've been saying about your experience, your knowledge of, intuition and messages you've received from the universe, and where you have been placing your focus in these weeks, and what turning point do you know is upon you, and how is that playing out in your life? Like, are you finally seeing the final chapter? Remember, this is the one where, Neptune went retrograde the other day, and Mercury is now direct. So this is, they were both direct, then Mercury was retrograde, now Neptune's retrograde. And Neptune going retrograde is important. It'll be retrograde for 5 months till December 1st. And, again, it's this, when planets go retrograde, they ask us to take a step back and look within. And so we've had Jupiter go retrograde, we've had Neptune go retrograde, and they, and I'm always talking about going within, but that's where the answers are. If you look to your outer world for answers, you're just going to get the same old blank stare. And one of the things that's important is to go inside and take your step back and say, okay, Mercury and Neptune had a conversation and they've given me a clue. I've got to, take this Neptune and kind of run with it. And Neptune is, our life's mysteries and our great visions and our great creativities and our great intuitions, and trusting and having faith in a way that we have never had before. So right now we've got to have a lot of faith, and I want you to have faith this week as you move through this Mars thing, and have faith in yourself and confidence in yourself. And I mean confidence, not cockiness. So Mars is going to actually trine Chiron on Friday, which is helpful, and it will kind of remain in trine. It's not going to go too far. It doesn't move that fast as the sun squares it, as sun squares Chiron on Sunday. So, Mars square Uranus can be fireworks. So make sure that they're happening on your TV or out on the river or in the gatherings or whatever for 4th of July, if you're celebrating 4th of July, and not in your house. So there you go. And that's about it. The big thing this week is this Mars situation, and you're going to start feeling it brewing. And the best thing to do is keep your head, okay? Keep your head and don't worry about, how much you're being held back right now. You've got to just make do, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason we're all not just diving in and diving forward. There's a reason. There's lessons to be learned, and figure out those lessons and figure out, the steps to get forward, okay? That's what you got to do. That's your job this week. And stay calm. Don't get stressed out. That's the best thing. It's the best thing. In the meantime, you can book a session with me at my website, goldenastrologer.com. Book online. You can read my blog there at Astrologer's Thoughts. You can find my podcast there, but it's also, as you probably already know, on Spotify and Apple. The other thing is you can go to my Instagram, The Golden Astrologer, and have a look at the other videos that I make during the week. And, I do other things besides astrology. I do emotional clearing work. And if you are interested in that, you can message me, info@goldenastrologer.com, or through Instagram. And you can say, what's this all about? So, what's emotional clearing all about? And so hopefully in the next days and weeks, I'm going to be presenting a little more about that on my Instagram, because I have some things that I want to show people. And I do still have a space in our retreat in October for our plant medicine Costa Rican adventure. So that's October 9th through 16th. And please, if you're interested, get in touch with me. Because really, with all those planets going direct, I think it's going to be a powerful time to have that retreat. So I think it's going to be extraordinarily powerful for people. So that's something to look forward to. And if you're interested, let me know. Thank you so much for listening. I give you a beautiful week ahead. I wish you the best and the calmest, and happiness and gratitude for listening. Thank you all. Love to everyone. Have a good week.